All right, man. Peace. Modern Gospel back again on another video, and please like, share, and subscribe. I know this video is probably gonna offend a lot of people out there, but it is what it is. Fuck it. But I just want to address this issue pertaining to this so-called girl who Gabby Petitos in her case, and honestly, I advise anybody out there, like, why do you give a fuck? You should not give a fuck about this girl at all. Her case is irrelevant to what's actually going on in your real life and what you're dealing with. All this shit is just a distraction. It's a lot of people who's dead and goes missing every single day of the week. What makes this random fucking girl so fucking special that the world or the so-called American media is making us give a fuck about? She's irrelevant. I'm gonna be honest with you. Nobody should really give a fuck about anybody else dying besides their fucking family member. I don't give a fuck if any black person in the United States of America that isn't my family at all dies. Any black person. So goes for any white, Asian person at all. Asian people don't give a fuck about if a white person or a black person die. White people don't give a fuck about if a black person die. Why is the fucking media making y'all give a fuck about who dies and what's going on with her story? This is a true story. Y'all should not give a fuck about this girl at all. She's irrelevant to her existence. She doesn't bring nothing at all. We would never know about this girl at all if the media is not constantly trying to shove her down your throat. I don't give a fuck about this girl. I don't give a fuck about this guy. I don't give a fuck about George Floyd or Breonna Taylor. They have nothing to do with me. If you really read into the story of those two individuals, do you think they're a fucking good person? And that is the problem that people fail to fucking realize, is to do proper research and understand these people before they start caping for them, before they start marching for them. You know? It's a bigger issue going on in this world and in America and shit, to the point where you need to be distracted by shit that doesn't bring you money or doesn't bring you happiness or peace at all. This girl case doesn't fucking matter. It's just a distraction. Anything TMZ is posting up is just a distraction. White people out there, you should not give a fuck if a black person died. You should not give a fuck. Sad story, like, hey, rest in peace. You know what it is, like, shit happens. It's part of life. Nobody should feel guilty about anybody fucking dying if it has nothing to do with you. People die every single day. Every single day. If they're not putting their life on the line for you, why do you give a fuck about them? I can understand if it's the United States military and all that shit. That's good. That's fine. You know, give a fuck about who is actually putting their life on the line for you. But for random people on the street that you don't know, why the fuck are you protesting for them? White people, do not give a fuck about if a random black person died. If it has not, do not feel guilty about that shit at all. That has nothing to do with you. Go about your life. It goes the same for any black person out there. Don't feel guilty because they're black. You feel the need that, hey, shit like this, like you gotta fight the power and all that shit. Black people and white people die every single day that the media does not make you give a fuck about. The media make you give a fuck about what they want you to give a fuck about. A bunch of people died, kidnapped, murdered, molested, rape, all that shit. What's so important about this fucking bitch that the media is fucking making you give a fuck about? If it's not anybody close to you, don't give a fuck about them. Don't march for no fucking body, no celebrity, none of that shit. None of these celebrities done anything for you at all to give a fuck about. Don't feel guilty if you don't give a fuck about a person dying. That goes for white, black, Asian, Mexican, whoever. You should not give a damn about the fact that this girl passed away. And you should not give a fuck about this man at all. It has absolutely fucking nothing to do with you. Gabby Petito case should not concern you at all. It don't fucking matter. It's a waste of time for you to invest your energy in there, in this, and when you know you can't really do nothing about it. Nothing is ever going to change. It's always going to be another white girl in a year or so that we got to give a fuck about. You know what I'm saying? So do not feel guilty about a black person dying if it has nothing to do with you. You should not feel guilty about a white person dying if it doesn't have nothing to do with you. You only get one life. Why the fuck do you give a fuck about all this shit? Police brutality and all this shit. The world isn't perfect. Shit is gonna happen. But before you dive deep into trying to protest and feel bad for these people, do some fucking research first. If you know about George Floyd, he was not a good person. If you know about Breonna Taylor, they were not a good person. Stop wasting your time giving a fuck about shit that you should not give a fuck about. I don't give a fuck about her. I don't give a fuck about George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. You will not see me marching. I know this shit might offend some of you guys, but you're entitled to your life, not somebody else's life. It don't mean shit. Stop protesting for people who you don't know or you don't understand. Because the media puts certain video out there to make you give a shit about it. They're just pulling on your emotion. Some of this shit is just staged. It's not real. But they want you distracted, so you don't focus on what's going on around you in your actual life. It's a waste of your fucking time to give a fuck about somebody who you don't know that died. If any black person's on the internet fucking passed away and shit, got in a fight or get stuck, I don't give a fuck. Yes, police brutality is a real thing, but if it's not happening to you, why do you give a fuck? You gotta wonder, like, some of the time, like, most of these police people go crazy on, like, you gotta do real research on it. It's not just random, you know? These people are not any real good people anyways. So when you see somebody in the media who died or something like that, they're creating protests and all this nonsense, don't care about it. Go about your life. Be like, oh, okay, shit happened. If it's not your family member or somebody you know who you're close to, don't give a damn about it. Most of this shit is just a distraction and just trying to, like, pull on your emotion. You know? So do not feel guilty, white people, black people. White folks, if you see a black person die, shot, all that shit, be like, okay, do some research as to why that shit happened. If you do some research, it's just for your understanding. You don't need to give a fuck about it. You don't need to have any emotion towards it. It's the same for black folks too. If you see a white person dying, it has nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Do your research. You get a better understanding of mind your business. I know it sounds a little bit harsh, but it is what it is. You come to this world to literally look after yourself and the ones you love, if they love you back. You know? Don't waste your time caring about bullshit. It has nothing to do with you. Don't feel guilty about why people feel like you don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because a bunch of black folks try to make you white folks feel guilty as to why you don't give a damn about another black person dying. Who cares? I don't give a fuck. You die, rest in peace, you know? However you decide to live your life on earth, guess what? Heaven or hell, I see you on the other side. You know, we can chat about it then. But then again, you should not care if a person died in America. If it has nothing to do with you, you should not care. You're not forced to care. None of that shit. You know? So stop giving your attention to these media telling you who you should give a damn about. It's a whole problem going on, wars and all that shit, and y'all worried about this bitch. You know, you got Biden trying to force vaccination on people, and you guys are worried about this? Come on, man. You gotta be stupid to give a fuck about this story and what's going on. You know, worry about your damn self. Whoever died, dies. Don't go out there protesting for none of this shit. It's none of your business. Don't waste your time. It's a distraction. It's a waste of your energy, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Anyways, peace.